Well, Mr. President gave a speech, and some people took notes. Hey everybody, this is Tom with Tom's Talk Show, and yes, I just got done watching the supposed Bring Everybody Together, Battle for the Soul of the Nation speech from, Professor Dodo Head. I can't... You get to a point where, everything that he said is completely political. Everything he said has nothing to do with bringing any nation together, has nothing to do with trying to make the country better, because we all know, anyone who's intelligent in any way or understands anything going on here, is that he's not in charge, right? He's a puppet. There's somebody there working his strings. He's got his speech written for him. All presidents get their speeches written for him, but he's there just as a puppet, as a figurehead, and the people behind the scenes are doing the work. And they realize with everything that's going on that we continue to need to push the narrative that anyone who thinks that Donald Trump in any way is any good for anyone continues to need to be pushed forward. So, as he was reading his speech, he of course has to come up with the Trump MAGA group are the most extremist threat to the nation. No, we're not. We want our nation back, away from your leftist extremists, is what we really want. We don't want any... you can't come up and say you got 81 million votes, which is debatable, but still that Trump got 73 million votes. So now you are calling 73 million people in your country MAGA extremists. You are 100% dividing the country. And you do this every single day. So the real reason, right, they're coming up here trying to make sure that anybody who thinks that they, identify with anything that has to do with Donald Trump, right, the more they bastardize, demonize, search Mar-a-Lago, get papers, post pictures of papers, any of these things, the more they bastard and demonize them, that means anyone who thinks, maybe I should vote for him in 2024, that means you're bastardized and you're demonized. This is not like Trump had said before. They are coming for you. He's just in the way. And this continually gets put forth every single time any one of them gets up there and speaks anything. So here he talked about, he continues to talk about, there's no violence. We should have no violence anywhere, no violence at all. So what happened? So here we have, of course, all the Democrats going to defund the police. What is that going to do? Right? I was just, cleaning my gun today. Right? All these Democrats, Ilhan Omar, Christian Gillibrand, Bernie Sanders, all these people saying defund the police. Right? That is only going to create more violence. Right? Going to create more crime, more problems. And here, what do we have here? The incredible Maxine Waters calling for political violence. Joe, why don't you clean your own house before you start talking to anybody else? There you go. Then he continues to spew on about, we need a fair election. We need this fair election. Our election needed to be fair. Well, where were you people when Trump got elected the first time? You were calling over and over and over again that it was not fair, that there was cheating, that something happened. You couldn't believe that all of the people in the country decided, I don't want your establishment anymore. And I think if it weren't, and it's come down to now, right, if the general public had known, right, about the Hunter Biden laptop, and if you hadn't pushed the COVID narrative out and scared everybody to force them everybody to push in the mail-in rebates, mail-in elections, so that you can now get people to go and just gather up hundreds of ballots from everywhere. Having nursing homes that have never voted in the last 20 elections suddenly has 100% occupant, 100% voting, because people go in there and they here, fill all these out. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen on both sides, because it does, but it just seems that there was a concerted effort in 2020 to gather votes and make sure everybody got voted. So, and then here he comes. He says in this thing, he says, Trump used his election, his power in the office for profit. For profit, he gave up all of his business dealings for the whole time that he was in office. He also didn't accept a dime of his paycheck. Every single time he donated it, mostly to the military. Using it for profit. What about Pelosi and her husband, making backroom knowledge deals about what stocks they're supposed to buy? It happens on the other side too. Can't say, I'm sure there are Republicans out there that also does that, right? The whole thing there is corrupt. You're just afraid Trump's going to come in and shut it all down. And let's talk about making profit still. What about Mr. Hunter and his laptop and him going over to China and suddenly 10% for the big guy? Yeah. Don't talk to me about anybody making profit for anything. Slimy little pinhead. He knows he's lying. He talks about jobs and schools open and all this other stuff. Well, what states were criticized the most? Like Florida? Where they didn't shut down, they didn't take away people's jobs, they left schools open. Now it's suddenly, suddenly jobs are okay now. Even though COVID's, on a huge swing up for, people having it, testing positive. You're just a liar, and you just continue to lie. And then, he calls out several times, white supremacy. Why? Okay, so Antifa is not a problem. So Black Lives Matter for all of 2020 when they were burning things down. Where were you then? Oh, wait, that's right. Your people were bailing them out of jail. Filthy, filthy liar. And then all this to come back to the January 6th narrative, which they continue to lie about what happened. They continue to try and put this forth that it was some crazy thing. And Trump just said, hey, everybody go down there, be peaceful, right? You have him on tape. They have all that recording that he goes down there, be peaceful. And I know you're going to go down there, just, take it easy, be peaceful. That's what he says. And then, come to find out, your FBI people are in there, trying to stir things up. I continue. I look at what are the kind of the things that Donald Trump stands for. If he's so crazy, if he's such a danger, what's he for? I look at many of the things that he says he's for. He's, smaller government. He continued to reduce government. International peace deals in the Middle East by record number, amazingly. Our energy independence away from the rest of the world. What would that have been like for Europe right now, where they're having energy prices go up 200 or 300%? If the United States would have been energy independent, able to say, don't worry about Russia, we can send you fuel. Right? Ukraine would not be happening right now if it weren't for this person and his son making backroom deals. Just incredible. Trump was also never going to sign anything extending abortion at all. I am completely for that. I believe, of course, in the Bible description, right? God formed us in our mother's wombs. Before, I had a step. You knew me before I was conceived. You knew me. That's where I go, right? government fiscal responsibility, energy independence, secure border. Why can a famous tennis player not come into the country because he hasn't been vaccinated, and people can pour over the border with no vaccinations of any kind, diseases of all kinds? This makes absolutely no sense to the American public. And you're not fooling anyone by getting up there and spewing a bunch of platitudes. The speech was nothing more than an extension of political rhetoric trying to sway the 2022 election because you people are in a panic. You've seen what some of these early election things have been doing, and it's not been going your way. So you have to plop out this figure and get your little puppet strings going to keep him, standing up there to spew what words you want that think is going to help the political party. Does the other side do it when they're in power? They're in the lead? Of course they do. But to continually call anyone who would think about voting for Trump, anyone who would, thinks, what a lot of the things, that Trump did were amazing. Our energy independence, the shutting the border down, all those things were amazing. Shrinking the government, trying to reduce, how many rules there are, getting those things out of the government was just completely amazing. But you couldn't stand it because he wasn't from your little group. Well, the American people may come back around. And the problem that we're going to have is, if they try and stop, so maybe Trump decides he's not going to run. Well, the next thing you're going to get is the absolutely amazing, beyond amazing governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. And he's going to be worse than Trump is. Because DeSantis doesn't come with the harsh Twitter at night. Right? He's got a better, and DeSantis walks through all of the legalities. He's an attorney. He walks through all of the legalities so that whenever he takes action, it's backed up legally and constitutionally. So you're going to have a huge hard time trying to get things past Ron DeSantis. So maybe you should want Trump to win and to run again, because you definitely don't want DeSantis, because that's going to spell huge problems for you. Okay, so let's really kind of analyze what's going on. Okay, so number one, we have prejudice, right? We had the unvaccinated, right? Those people who were unvaccinated. I'm unvaccinated. I'm not getting your damn vaccine. I don't care. I've already had COVID. I'm better immune than any of your damn vaccines could ever give me. Okay, so you start this prejudice against these people, whoever they are. Then you start scapegoating, right? You start blaming them for problems. Oh, we wouldn't have, if it weren't for these unvax, these Trumpy people and stuff who are, if it weren't for them, then everything would be fine. That just kind of bring up that kind of scapegoat thing and all that stuff. If it weren't for them, right? Then you start discriminating. We need to get these people out. We need to find a way to remove them from their jobs. We need to, if you're not vax, you can't have a job. If you're not, blah, 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 blah. If you're for them, if you are, the ESG thing, like if you're not of a certain thought or a certain mind, then, we can't have you employed here. We can't give you services. We can't do any of these things for you. Then finally, persecution, which is what Biden was completing today, right? If you are a MAGA, if you are an extreme MAGA, if you're one of these people that likes Trump, you need to be taken out. You need to be removed. You need to not be part of society. Persecution. He's following Hitler's plan to the letter. Watch it. Continue to be aware of it. All right. Just so irritated and frustrated, like so many Americans are. It doesn't matter, right? At this point, it doesn't matter to me which one runs, whether it's Trump or DeSantis. Those are the only ways that I'm voting. Of course, in this year we have Governor DeSantis up for election in November, and of course I'll be voting for DeSantis there he's been, I mean, we've been here for a year, and this state is so different from California. The freedom, the respect for the citizens, the openness, the ability for businesses to even function, all through the time when we were looking for property here and moving here, and everything was just completely amazing. The rest of the country needs to understand what DeSantis has done for Florida. That would be, probably the best thing to have happen. But if Trump's there, I'm voting for Trump. Call me an extremist, right? I'm a guy here in Florida on a little bit of property who is against abortion, is for a border wall, who is for fiscal responsibility in government, who's to stop handouts for people. All those kinds of things. Those are basic things. Does that make me, that makes me an extremist. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Look out. Anybody that votes for, Democrat, I will call you friend. I will talk to you, but I will completely disagree with anything you have politically, right? I mean, we can sit down and talk and have a conversation, and that's the big thing, right? Between the right and the left. The right is like, let's sit down and talk. Let's find what we got in common. We'll disagree on a few things, but we can probably find a lot of stuff in common. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm a MAGA extremist. You don't want to talk to me. All right. Thanks for watching. Take care.